Hello everyone and welcome back to Walford Weekly with our annual review of EastEnders of the year. Review of the year of EastEnders 2020. As I say, this is an annual event, and as always, we will be opening our envelopes of our predictions that we made right at the beginning of 2020 of what we thought was going to happen with the soap. So stay listening for that. But before any of that, I am Alex, your host, and I am joined by our favourite person in the whole world, Ben. He's back from Ireland, he's returned, he's come with Dot, he's brought presents.
I have. I'm here to critique the world.
You are. The world of Walford.
Mm-hmm.
The world of Walford. Before we start with the storylines that we both enjoyed the most, or perhaps didn't enjoy the most, we're going to start by saying the people who came to the square and the people who left. So we had 4 people come. We had
nice.
We had the recasting of Peter Beale. I want your opinion on each one. So the recasting of Peter Beale. Yeah, good, bad. Happy with that?
Yeah, nice to look at. Not much to talk about.
Not much up top, let's just say. We had Suki appear, so the Panesar family are complete.
Yep, very good.
That's excellent.
Excellent casting there.
Mm-hmm. Isaac came, so the Fox family are now complete.
Mm-hmm. Isaac's got potential.
He has. He's got quite... He's nice to look at.
He's nice to look at, but he's also better than Peter.
Ooh, controversial start. And we had Frankie, which basically led quite a big storyline in 2020.
I feel like Frankie being a full-time character is like a happy accident. Like, she was brought in for Ben and Callum, and then they're like, actually no, but let's just keep her. But I like Frankie. She's a good character too. She's
an excellent character, and hopefully she'll get some cast shots soon. Because I was looking, when I was doing the title card for the episode, there's no cast shots for Frankie.
That's what I mean, she was an accident.
There's one for blooming Raymond's step grandmother, but not for can't even remember her name.
Ellie.
One for Ellie, but no one else. Exits this. I just want one word for each one. Tina,
dead. Or is she?
Well,
dead? Question mark.
Okay. Chantel.
Can't say dead again.
Dramatic.
Sad.
Habiba. Inevitable.
Detective.
Jags. Thank goodness. Leo.
Yeah, didn't reach his full potential.
No, there was so much more, but again, we'll talk about that. Daniel, that was sad. He died on the bench.
I don't care about Daniel.
I think I care about that.
He died twice.
I think I care about that story more than you do, because I really loved that story with him and Jean. Denny on the boat, drowned.
Jumped the shark.
Who's
Bad decisions.
Keanu flew away on a jet plane, never to be seen again.
Yeah, he had a good exit. He did what he needed to do.
Mm-hmm. Louise went off with her baby.
Could have done more.
Yeah. Lisa
could have done a lot more.
Dot.
I mean, Dot's basically been left for like 10 years. Let's be real.
I'm really sad about Dot because I've said this so many times before. I'm sorry, but they need to give her a proper goodbye. We're getting to the point where if they don't consider it now, it might be too late. No. And that sounds really morbid, but...
They can use it as an excuse to bring Charlie back, and he can just live with Dottie, and Dot can die or whatever.
I'd like them to bring back a Cotton family, because they got Dot, they got Charlie.
Charlie's wife, kids.
Yeah. There'd be a Ronnie as well. There'll be a Mitchell back, if you think about it. Another new Mitchell, because of Ronnie and Charlie. Yeah, so bring them back. That could be a prediction for 2021, but we'll get to that next year. So, let's start off then with a story that I really enjoyed, and that was the Whitney and Leo story. I really, really loved the story because there were so many brilliant scenes between them. Yes, there was some ridiculous moments, but we've come to expect that with EastEnders at the moment. But there's the scene where they were in the hotel room and they had that real hashed out between them why Leo was so angry with Whitney. There was the obviously the very dramatic part when Whitney stabbed Leo accidentally, I think.
Oh, yeah, I mean, him hiding in the attic was a bit over the top, but it was fine. Like it was what it was. They didn't drag it out for like months.
No, they really used that attic set though, haven't they?
I know.
They've got their money's worth from that attic
set. They thought,
set.
you know what, this set does look really good. let's put Kush up there and Cat.
Yeah, let's just store everyone up there. It's storage for characters. Dot's found behind a cardboard box. It obviously ended with Whitney going to prison, and this is where it went a bit bad.
It went downhill fast. Like they've been experimenting like subtly with techniques. But like the Whitney prison one was like, really?
Yeah.
Like there was a young Whitney, but there was a different actress, but we've seen young Whitney on the show, so that didn't quite make sense or didn't add anything. And then she was singing Whole Again and fainting and like but like there was music of Whole Again playing, but she was also singing it. And
do you know that the downloads for Whole Again actually put it back into the top 20s?
It's the power of
the power of EastEnders. I bet Kerry Katona was loving her 2020. She was making more money than she'd ever made before.
And the whole prison thing, but like you only saw her cell and the one prison guard, didn't you? And,
yes.
Like nothing else.
And the prison guard was really concerned for her. He kept giving her food and advice, and she was like, "I'm not eating." Oh, because she went on hunger strike.
That's why she fainted. Yeah.
And and she was having hallucinations, and she saw herself as a completely different person when she was younger. And like the whole square, it did affect the square, which was nice. You kind of there was an echo of it. Like Gray was very concerned. They kind of put Gray and Chantel's story on
Sonia and Jack and Tiff. So
that was nice. We moaned that there's not enough aftermath, but there was some aftermath to this.
Well, I think this one got particularly ruined by the lockdown break, because like it was right in the middle of her in prison, her court case, and like Leo's mum did all these weird things, but then she disappeared. So yeah, I do think it suffered more than it should have because of the break.
Whitney did voluntary work during the break, didn't she, at the hospital?
Yeah, with children, working with children or something.
With a conviction on her shoulders.
A woman who's about to be done for murder. But,
I mean, I think it's going to be brought up quite a lot on this review of 2020, and there's no point skirting around the subject that because of COVID, this pandemic that we're in, there was a break of about 3 months for the show, and it messed up a lot of stories, and they had to almost rewrite them all again.
And they kind of just picked up where it would have been, but without having 3 months of episodes.
Yeah, with no progress.
So like Sharon gets married to Ian within like 48 hours. It's like, what? So yeah, there's a lot of issues, but some of them we can let slide, but some of them I can't.
Yeah, there's big gaping holes. Let's talk about Sharon and Ian, shall we? So it's all they're now married, but it's all started all the way back in January, where obviously Shianu got found out. Phil got a bit angry.
Wanted to kill Keanu.
Pushed a pregnant woman onto the concrete. But obviously he's a saint now. We must all follow him. And it kind of came to
Dark Martin as well was in on killing Keanu.
Well, that was 2019. That was right at the end, wasn't it, of 2019 when you had the warehouse.
Well, kind of. Yeah, there was all flashbacks and all sorts because Linda's drinking was getting bad then, and everyone thought Keanu was dead until Boat Week when he appeared again.
Yeah, he came back.
But Boat Week was, like, I would say, extremely impressive.
Boat Week was fantastic. I mean, the reason we had Boat Week was because the Queen Vic had won Pub of the Year, remarkably, had won Pub of the Year in 2020. In money problems, but they won Pub of the Year. And financially stable, they are not. However, they won Pub of the Year. And it's all because of the wife swap story. So that was a time to be alive, wasn't it? When they
That was good, though, the wife swap story. I think it was, because it got lots of characters interacting with people they like. The Max and Ruby and Linda and Thingy kind of start. You could see if there wasn't a break, that's where the Max and Linda affair would have stemmed from, because they swapped, didn't they?
Well, they did, but Linda was making a fool of herself all the time because they had the.
And she was being really mean to Ruby, wasn't she?
She was, which at the time you kind of didn't mind so much, but you know it was uncalled for, and it kind of brought this alcoholism storyline to light that Mick was now starting to notice it too, and Linda wasn't really covering it up as well as she first thought she could, because obviously it came to head at the beginning of the year, but she promised Mick that it was all over and she wouldn't be, she could control her drinking.
Yeah, she was being very nasty, and then Boat Week happened where like all the families basically had their big storyline to coincide with the boat sinking, didn't they? Because like
really
Linda
good.
was trapped under deck with her foot
Yes.
trapped because she was drunk and got hit on the head with a bottle.
Dennis, she was trying to reach to drink.
Dennis was upset because Phil and Ben and everyone went to Spain without him.
Well, no.
He overheard things about not being wanted and stuff, so but he was acting out.
Dennis was acting out, and that's the reason why Ian locked him in the cabin down below, because he got Bobby attacked by posting something on social media.
And we had those scenes of Habiba and Ikra and Bobby where they were attacked, and like, the dialogue was really realistic.
That was very good. Yes. Yeah. That was a good moment when the hate crime started. And, really
Boat Week literally was like peak.
It was
and it like slowly sunk as the year went on.
Pun intended. There was a wonderful moment when Whitney confessed as well. For me, that was scene of the year.
She just killed Leo, isn't she?
She just killed Leo. She was like, the whole scene was Mick covering it up for her. He was like, "Don't worry about it, love. I'll make sure that you don't go to prison." But Whitney couldn't bear the guilt much longer, and the first thing she did as soon as she got off the boat was go straight to a police officer and say, "I've killed someone." And I mean, you have your issues with background music, and we all talk about the incidental music can be a bit misplaced from time to time. But for that moment, and I've gushed about it before.
Was very good.
For that moment, I recommend anyone, if you can find the scene when Whitney, just that one scene,
and
when
Dennis's body is like brought up as well
at the same time. It's all happening. The whole crescendo of the whole week happens on that scene, and it's just a fantastic scene. It was such a good compact week. So many stories, so much happening.
Bex was there. She had a story.
Yes, Bex.
She was taking over drugs with her and Dottie together, weren't they?
I completely forgot about that storyline as well.
She nearly died on the boat. Stuart saved Mick and Linda on the raft and brought them up, so that kind of mended their...
No, but it hasn't though, has it really?
Yeah, but a little bit. Like, it's a bit better now they've saved each other.
A little bit better, but then when at the end of this year, when Stuart was trying to give Mick advice, he kind of dismissed him. But again, that'll be the story we'll talk about with Mick, his big story at the end of the year. And it brought Rainey and Stuart. It made me love Rainey and Stuart more because they dressed up as pirates as well.
Jack and Max punched each other because of Lauren giving
random,
Lauren money.
I know. Max was upset because Jack knew that Lauren was in financial trouble. I mean, Lauren's in a lot of trouble now. Her house is burnt down, and she's probably still at the airport waiting for her dad to come home.
And obviously, Dennis getting Bobby attacked brought us, the wonderful Peter Beale, back to the Beale household because of Kathy's phone call.
Yes,
we need you here, Peter.
Kathy has been in contact with Peter the whole time. Kept it very quiet. She's not told anyone, but that's just what Kathy. That's how
when
Kathy
we got
rolls.
The first look of how tall Peter was, which is still an issue a year later. Like, he sits down a lot now, I feel.
It's very difficult to film him in any scene where, especially with a very short. Imagine if he was Barbara Windsor. He had a scene with Barbara Windsor. That would be terrible. They'd have to use like some kind of perspective, have him like 2 feet behind Barbara Windsor every time, so they'd be almost the same height.
But Peter's not really done much like as his return, has he? He's like he kind of doesn't like Ian, but he also doesn't like Bobby. But he likes Kath. But that's about it. He's just a bit mopey and miserable, isn't he?
Well, his story's a little bit what I think Rob and I said. It was a bit like what Ben's story was meant to be when he came back, and that was getting revenge on his dad. And it feels like that's Peter's story now, but it's not really going anywhere.
Sharon's doing that for him.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if you find out that Peter knows that Sharon's doing it too. But he kind of just jumps in every now and then. He's just there. He's getting an allowance. He doesn't care.
I mean, we wanted them to build the builds up, but Bobby's really good. Kathy's good. Ian's good. It's just they need to do something with old Pete.
Well, I think they are though. I think 2021.
He's got the cursed name, Pete Beale, isn't he? Basically.
Yes. What? I mean, why is Peter not working on the fruit and veg store? Because mine doesn't work on it anymore.
Who is on there?
Well, I think Ian hires someone to do it now. Ian worked on it for a little bit, but then
Pauline would be very, very angry.
What would Pauline say? That's a prime plot of land. That is.
It is.
Everyone
family
wants it.
Since World War II.
Yeah. It's almost been gambled away. It's been used as a bargaining chip for many a storyline, and yet no one's using it on the Beale family anymore.
So, what about Suki? Because Suki arrived this year.
Oh.
To save the Panasars.
Yeah, I know. They were slowly fragmenting the Panasars, but
they were like, maybe we should just call it quits for these guys. And then they brought Suki in, and it's like, perfect. They're a family.
Yes,
which is what EastEnders is built on, isn't it? It's the matriarch, the head of the family is what's always needed, and there's no more proof than what Suki's done because it has turned the family quite around. I feel.
Well, it's a testament that they were.
Apart from Jags.
Well, Jags has sadly gone.
That was just a casualty that had to happen.
I mean, there was nothing they could do with Jags, and it was obvious that they just didn't know how to. And the fact the death nail. Well, the death nail was that they put him in a story with Habiba, and Habiba had nowhere to go as well. And
that's a shame.
It was a shame because Habiba is such. There was so much that her and Ikra could have had. There was the sisterly bond. I mean, we saw them as the new Ronnie and Roxy. They really, well, they could have been.
I know they could have. Yeah.
And it would have been.
They weren't.
They shook up the square. And again, like the lesbian stories, as always, are just getting forgotten now because now Ikra and Hash's story is just kind of just.
Excuse me, that's 2021. We don't recall that.
No, I mean in 2020 though, nothing has happened with them.
Like, they kissed once, I think.
Well, they had that quite steamy scene where they together. Yeah, they did. They had I think it got a few complaints because the world. And
Suki would have complained because she doesn't like it, does she?
Well, she doesn't, but she should be pleased with Ash's direction in 2021 again. But we're not talking about that. But no, Suki, fantastic actress, fantastic character. I love that she's a little bit camp. She's a little bit dramatic. She's just unpredictable.
I mean, her first story was a bit like I do wonder whether they cast Suki as this like cancer storyline, but like she was faking it, and it's like that's quite a awful character trait. And then they were like, oh, she's a really good character. Yeah. We need to not have her like ostracized so much, so they kind of tiptoed around it, haven't they? Because if that was anyone else, that would have been like a part-time character, and she would like the highway dad sort of thing.
Or Ellie.
7 episodes. So I do wonder if they thought, oh no, we've got something good here, we can't just let Sookie go. So they sort of turned it around. But it was funny because she was like trying to make friends with Jean, wasn't she? So she could pick up on how to fake having cancer. But then she like let it slip and she started digging that hole for Daniel's ashes, and everyone was around like, I thought you were sick, and she was there like with a shovel and rolling her sleeves up and doing loads of hard work, and everyone was like, yeah, that wasn't the cleverest moment of Sookie. But since then, she's like she never lets anyone get one up on her since.
She plays her cards very close to her chest, and she's, as I say, very calculated.
She likes loyalty.
She's very much loyal.
Well, if loyalty's to her.
I mean, yeah,
no one else.
She made Jags take one for the team, didn't she? By taking the attack on Martin as conviction.
Oh, because Martin got attacked, didn't he, as well? Lots of people got attacked this year.
There was a lot of head injuries, traumas in
back of the head, like
EastEnders
4 times. I feel
Phil had another one as well, didn't he, this year?
He did.
Oh, and talking about someone who had a head attack, Ben. Because he has the death. Oh yeah,
that was on Boat Week as well. Oh, that storyline.
So he got his head hit. He got his edit. He hit his head on the side of the boat.
Yeah.
And it caused his. Was it the original ear? Or
no, the other ear.
The other ear. So he became almost completely deaf.
Yeah.
And every time from that moment onward, you had a scene with Ben, you listened from his perspective, and you'd hear like a watery kind of.
But like they only did it up until the special episode, and then after the special episode, like that was it.
Well, no, because he then over lockdown, he then magically had the operation.
I know,
he can now hear
but like
properly.
it was really not done well.
It really wasn't.
It was literally like. Magic cure, done. And you've had the implant for a few weeks. You can hear everything, and it's like that's not how it works. And they made like a point. They were like, "Oh, we've brought on one of our members of the team is deaf, so we've brought him on to consult with us and help write and things." And it's like, is that guy still on the team, or have they just been like, "Well, that's over, so you can go back to like the job you used to do"? I don't know.
Social media executive.
But it was just, it was just not handled well at all.
Well,
and it could have been handled well.
It could have been done better. You could to show more angst of the problem that he must have felt himself. He felt so isolated, and Frankie was brought in specifically for the part. And it was like you said, they brought Frankie in, realised that there's more they could do with this actress, and then kind of pulled her away from the story a little bit. I mean, she's still got that friendship with Ben and Callum, but
it's almost like they were like, well, we have Frankie, she can be the deaf representation, so Ben doesn't have to anymore.
Yeah,
like, it's like a bit like that. But his deaf episode as well, which was like. It was billed as like living life as a deaf person, like you live it through this deaf person, how living he struggles in like a day. And like the first 10 minutes of that episode, it was like, okay, this is quite good actually, because you're seeing him wake up, breakfast, go about his day, and it was like, okay, this could be better than I thought. But then it like so quickly goes downhill to
they had to do a heist because they can't not do a heist on a special episode. If it's a special episode, expect there to be a heist.
So unnecessary. And like,
oh, absolutely,
they were just running through corridors and the heist made no sense. And like they met Danny Hardcastle with all his men in that bar, and there was like dead men on the floor, and it didn't make any sense what they were doing. No. And he like Danny tried to kill Ben and shot him near his ear and made his hearing worse. And
well, it was just another example.
What is going on?
Yeah, it was just another example of something that happened in one episode and then just forgotten about again.
Because Danny got arrested, but then he like appeared again like a few months later.
Well, yeah, because that's where the whole grass thing started happening. Because that's when Phil kept saying, "Oh, you're a grass," and saying it to everyone. And yeah, I mean, I suppose you could say this was the genesis of the Callum undercover
because he's a policeman all of a sudden when we come back from lockdown, wasn't
he? The first episode we came back from lockdown, he was chasing someone through the square and he's like, "You're nicked, I'm a copper." It's like, oh, okay, so that's happened, has it?
Yeah, literally in the space of 3 months he's gone from a funeral director to a working policeman who's working on active cases. Well,
almost a detective.
Well, I don't know what he is.
It's like he's doing detective work. He's like seems to be seemingly doing undercover work for D.I. Gaffney, and just
It's awful because they can't use the excuse like, well, we were off for 3 months, so the storyline had to accelerate. It's like it doesn't have to accelerate 3 years in 3 months. Like that's no excuse. Like look back in the 90s. We're going back to the 90s.
Yep.
Michelle, she took her college course. They stuck with that college course for 3 years.
Didn't we know it?
And then she did jobs and jobs and jobs for years to
part-time
train.
work at the Vic.
And then Callum just is a policeman. It's like,
I mean, a lot of people
this is where the realms of like believability like just disappear for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
Like you have, like always in soap, you have to be like, it's a soap. So like you kind of give them leverage, but like this is where it literally went to like characters can just do anything, and there is no rhyme or reason. It's just how it is. It's happening, and that's all there is.
I'm surprised that when we came back from lockdown, Kat hadn't got her black cab license.
Yeah,
it's just like you say, you can literally just walk into a university and say, "I want a diploma in this in EastEnders," and then like a month later, you've got it. It's a bit mad, but yes, this is all because Callum is a bit of a grass in the Mitchell family, and he gets himself tangled up all over the place.
With a dodgy cop and a dodgy family, and they're both trying to blackmail each other to get info, and that continues literally for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
And that's all I have to say on that.
Fair enough.
What about the Trumans? Because Isaac appeared like Christmas Eve, I think it was in 2019, because of Cherie's big secret she had for the last year.
It came out. And
it was what we thought it was. It was the son of Patrick's,
yeah.
Which we were like, oh, like we wanted it to be a bit different, maybe. Like we predicted this like 2 years ago. But it's fine. It happened, and like it all came out, and Patrick found out. And then Patrick went on holiday for like months, and
then Patrick got COVID.
Yeah, and it's like, why send? It was really weird how they decided to have the revelation one episode, and the same episode him and Cherie were going off to Trinidad. It's like, why?
I know, because there's no progress has been made on it anymore.
And now they're just sort of stuck in limbo, and they don't really mention it.
No, I mean, Isaac is concerned for Patrick, but again, this is 2021, so I can't really talk about that. But all we know is that Isaac is a bit traumatized and finding out that Patrick is his dad, but as you say, nothing's progressed. There's been no scene between them when they've talked to one another. I think actually that's a lie. I think they had that moment in the pub, didn't they, in the Vic, and they kind of talked to each other and
because they got on with each other really well when when Isaac didn't know.
No, because Isaac didn't like Patrick. And then that's why it was even more angsty when he got found out.
Because with the piano music, I remember in the salon. You're my father. But yeah, I mean, again, that they need a lot more development, because I think Isaac could be a good character. He's a teacher.
Yeah.
He's not very professional in his teaching. He drinks a lot. He sleeps with everyone.
We think he smokes dope as well, but we're not 100% sure.
Yeah, and he's a bit inappropriate around children. Like he just falls asleep on benches when looking after them. Or
I was during summer club when he's meant to be looking after Bailey and all the kids. He's
and
like,
Amy,
go look for some bugs. I'll be here with a swig of his hip flask.
But he's a good casting, and Cherie, she was on it last year, but she again could be excellent. They just need to give them a bit more.
I'd like actually there to be a family unit of the Foxes, which they are building on now.
Yeah, they've done it well now.
And I like that actually you've seen when Raymond came back. Because obviously Denise is now looking after Raymond because his adopted parents died in a car crash.
Both of them. And the sister.
Yes, Callum was the first to know as well. Callum was on the scene. He was very upset.
Because Callum kept talking about it to everyone, and everyone heard, and it got back to Denise.
Denise like, what? And they got to Phil as well. And so Phil basically got Richie on the case, got the contract signed up.
Oh yeah,
handed over
Ellie.
the child.
Yeah, because Ellie wanted she wanted 5,000, and she'll hand over her grandchild.
Yeah, it was like 500.
And then she was like, actually no, 250,000. Yeah. It's like, what? It was like a really big jump, wasn't it? But he
got rid of human trafficking.
Got rid of. I can't remember how he got rid of her. What did he say? He had something on her.
He had something on her. Oh, he grassed on her. Remember? He got the police to raid.
Oh yeah, all her. Yeah, drug apartment.
Phil doesn't like grasses, but he grassed on Isaac and he grassed on Ellie as well. So Phil should take a leaf from his own book of grass.
That happens.
Raymond is the cutest boy, though. He's the sweetest kid. And
I know the Foxes, like Pearl's really cool as well. Yeah. I haven't seen Mika yet. I don't know what's happened to him. But yeah, the Fox kids, they're all
Fox
right.
Kids.
Yeah.
God, do you remember the channel Fox Kids?
No.
He used to show Sweet Valley High.
Don't know what that is.
Yeah, you do. You're just you're trying to act cool in front of everyone.
We also came back from lockdown for the big storyline of Chantal and Gray, because things had obviously gotten worse. This is like one storyline that made sense over lockdown, because things obviously got worse between them, and she was planning to leave Gray and seeing lawyers secretly, and like planning her escape, and her and Kierat were getting very close and texting each other, and they went to like that seaside place of the family,
Clacton, isn't
it? And that's where she was.
That old chestnut.
That's where she was planning to run away, but Gray turns up, and he kind of like slowly works out over the few weeks, doesn't he, what she's planning, and they have the big special, the first 30-minute episode that we were given with the Chantel and Grey, where the dishwasher, which we predicted from months ago,
always
was
have
open.
knives up.
Won't close that dishwasher with its lights beaming out of it. It's like, I'm here. And obviously that sadly ended Chantel's as a character,
It was her
which
death, wasn't it?
was a shame. I think it's such a shame because I really like Chantel as a character. She was like a really good normal inverted commas character, and like she worked with quite a lot of people like Lola and Denise and Whitney.
She got herself about. She worked in the square. It was like an old school character almost. They worked in the square. They had a lot of connections with a lot of different characters.
Yeah, I think it's a shame. Like, I know they wanted to tell this big important storyline, but
up to this point, it was done
because Chantel was really good.
Well, yeah, it had to be a casualty of it. Yeah, I mean, yes. I mean, you wanted it to be that he got found out before Chantel had died, but I think it was the right way of portraying it. It's just sadly yet again everything after it is just been ruined the build up to it. I mean, it was so. It was
literally the next episode, wasn't it? Like they appeared back from their holiday, no one had told them, and Karen just walks up to the house. And...
Billy was the one who told them.
Oh yeah,
Billy walked up and said, really something you need to know.
Really bad dubbing. He's like, Chantel's dead. He's like, oh thanks, really subtle there, Billy.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, it was so, and it's still not really being done very well. Like now, Tina's died because of it. We think Tina's died. We don't know Tina's died. We suspect Tina's died.
Yeah, that's just awful.
And wrapped up like a burrito. It's like it's just so frustrating that they've done this. As I mean, they could do so much with They almost had it right when they showed Gray's torment from it and how he was struggling.
His counselling
and his counselling and it's just and the aftermath, and even up to the point when he was. He almost couldn't survive knowing what he'd done to Chantel and was going to basically take out him. That was a real shocking moment for me, that he was going to take out himself and his kids in a massive fire. And to that point, it was so good. And then it was just like, oh, okay, well, give the kids to Karen and we'll solve the problem.
And he like gets involved with the Carters and the Mitchells, and it's a bit what?
Yeah, well, no, and also with the Slaters, because he organised getting the cars sold when the another heist with Kat and Phil, and that's when Kush almost got arrested. Oh yeah, Kush's gambling storyline. I mean, it made sense that out of lockdown that Kush may have developed a gambling problem. That made sense. But then to the point that he had lost so much money that he was gambling that they
5,000 at a time, wasn't it?
And instead of again considering and doing a considerate storyline about gambling addiction with a character, they instead did a heist. Which again, is that the only way they can write themselves out of stories?
No, this is like the point where it's like every storyline is like a week long.
Yeah.
Like they don't spend any time building or sitting with it for any amount of time. And it's like this is from where now on it's like there's like 1,000 storylines. Like Rainey and Stuart's wedding, they talked about it on the hen night, and then they had the wedding the next episode, and then like that was it. And then you didn't see them, like she said, I'm pregnant, and then you didn't see them for like 4 weeks.
Yeah.
It's like, what? It's
really strange because obviously we hate block storytelling, and it's not that they're doing block storytelling.
They're just not doing storytelling.
But yeah, it's like nothing is bubbling along in the background.
They want all the reward, like, oh, let's get to that big moment. But like they've missed out every single thing in between.
That's right. Without the work building up to it.
Because like the next time you see Stuart, it's like the next time you see them, he's killed Dio Gaffney, and it's like,
oh yeah,
and it's like really like. You only get the big bits of the story, nothing in between.
But it's like the Ian story. It's like there was meant to be this. We thought that this was going to build and build and build and build for months. We genuinely believed that the big reveal was going to be on their anniversary in February, but it wasn't. It was done in like 2 weeks, and it's just why?
And like it literally went from him hating everyone in 1 week, then the next week he was hit, then he was about to die, then he got married to Sharon got a divorce, then he came out of hospital, then she was poisoning him, then we got the reveal. It's like that literally happened within 2 weeks. 2.5 weeks probably at most.
It was I think it was the first or second week of December, and then as you say, it went from 0 to 100 in a couple of weeks.
Like, that's a lot of things that happen. It reminds me of like on Friends when was it Rachel and Ross's mum hears all that information and she goes, that's a lot of information to process in 20 seconds. It's like, that's what it reminds me of. It's like Sharon's and Mrs. Bill, but Sharon knows about Dennis's death and she's blackmailing, but her and Phil hated each other before lockdown. Like, he was very cruel to her, but now they're working together to kill Ian. And it's like,
because when we left lockdown, Ian had bought the Vic under Phil's nose
and
to punish him with Sharon, and then all of a sudden back from lockdown. I mean, I have to say that was the one thing with Ian's who got duffed in a duff story that was done well, and that is the reveal, the very subtle reveal that Rob spotted of the text
phone
message going, or the phone. Billing when she got Denny's.
It wasn't that subtle. Like,
I didn't even spot it.
Lots of people said online, I think. I'm sure.
Yeah,
they
but
did.
I think an equal number of people hadn't seen it, and it wasn't until that it was mentioned, well, later on, that we, it was like, oh my goodness. And
I mean, those flashbacks were pointless, though.
But the flashbacks of who attacked Ian.
Yeah.
Yes, they were silly.
Like we said, they were pointless when it happened. Everyone was like, "Nah, it's really good," but each one was meaningless. Like even the Phil one was meaningless.
They were there to
like
almost
Max
put together.
burying the weapon.
Oh yeah, the trophy, the Lucy Bill Trophy of the Year, whatever. They were there, I think, to build a case for you at home to work out if you could work out all the different pieces.
And everyone could.
And everyone did. I mean, I think most people worked out literally the episode when it aired.
Yeah.
Like when Ian got hit around the head, it was like, oh, it's Sharon. Because it wasn't subtle at all.
No, bless him. Not the best whodunit. Like literally one of the worst. So,
and again for 2020, just to round things up, the Christmas episode was not particularly memorable, but the New Year's Eve and New Year's Day episode was fantastic.
Really good.
A real trend in EastEnders now, like the big
highs and lows.
Yeah, but it's funny, isn't it? That like for the last 2-3 years, the Christmas episode has not really been worth writing about, but the New Year's Eve and New Year's Day episode has just been fantastic.
Always better. Yeah, it's funny, but I can't remember what happened. Like Christmas was a bit of a dud, actually. Like
it was just kind of walking around the square, seeing everyone having their Christmas.
Was it Lucas? Oh, Lucas appeared, didn't he? He's out of prison.
Oh,
and
yeah,
it's just
Lucas
like, what?
Oh, yeah.
Makes no sense.
We should talk about Lucas appearing. And
well, we'll talk about
Chelsea
that next year, I think, because it's more January. But that's ridiculous. Anyway, are we going to give it a ranking?
Yes. Let's give it a ranking. You go first. Because I'd like to hear what you say.
Well, I obviously quit the show this year because I thought the show was so crap.
In a storm of controversy, you left the podcast.
It's ridiculous. Not me leaving the podcast, that wasn't ridiculous. The show, I mean. So I just can't knowingly give it a very high score because of that fact. I
mean, you could grade it, or you could do it out of how many Jump the Sharks out of 10.
No, I'll give it an E. I think.
Ooh, E.
Because D sounds a bit too high. Like
D sounds a bit too high.
I think so.
E is one away from a fail.
I know, but like I preferred 1989 to some of what was going on in 2020.
Did you prefer it to 2019?
No.
Okay, that's why I was asking, because 2019, I think you gave it a D.
Yeah, 2019 was better, but there was
by one grade. Is it an E plus or just an E? E neutral?
E flat.
E flat.
Because it fell flat.
I don't think it was as bad as an E, but I certainly wouldn't say it was a top grade year. But there was some. The thing for me is I would knock it up a half grade for every time they had good moments, and they had some good moments. Boat Week, I say, would knock it up to an E. I say the Chantel storyline would knock it to a D minus.
What about the aftermath of it though?
I'm being positive, and I think all round it can bubble up to a D. I think it's a D.
Okay,
a D for me.
Yeah, it's fine.
But
it's your opinions. You're all allowed one.
This is what it is. And don't forget, guys, that you can also comment below or get in touch with us and let us know.
Give it a grade.
Give us a grade. Send us a grade on our Twitter at Walford Weekly, Instagram at Walford Weekly, or our Facebook group, Walford Weekly Podcast.
Or comment below this video on YouTube.
Absolutely.
Do what you want.
We love reading them, actually. They pop up on our phone every now and then. But before we go, we have our predictions. So every year, at the beginning of the year, we write down, I think 5, I can't remember.
I can't remember.
It's either 3 or 5.
Maybe 5, who knows.
Stories that we predict or would like to see happen in the year. And
Not that we'd like to see, it's just what we predict, isn't it? I don't know, I can't remember what I wrote.
Well, I like a mixture of the two. No. And we seal them in an envelope. And there they are. And we genuinely do not open them.
These envelopes have survived a move from south of England all the way up to Scotland.
Yeah.
So, you know,
we remembered them.
We've done well.
That's how important they are. And I mean, the glue on the back of the envelope has started to go old. You know how envelopes go old? This has been so long.
So we're going to open each other's, aren't we?
Yeah, so I'm opening yours, and we're going to do one at a time. So we'll do one for you and one for me at a time. So here you go.
You have to explain yourself and your thinking from last year.
Okay.
Yours is like paragraph.
So's yours.
Oh, mine's all right.
Yeah,
okay.
Who's going to go first? Do you want to read one of mine first?
Yep.
Okay, go on then.
Number 1 of Alex's predictions. Mick and Linda will no longer work or live in the Queen Vic pub. Ooh.
Ting, 1 point for me.
They will still own it and have their son Lee take... Oh, for God's sake, this old chestnut. Lee take over as manager alongside his new wife.
No points for that.
No. And his wife is pregnant with twins. More on this later, it says. Linda and Mick trial a separation, but decide they are better together than apart.
Oh,
kind of, yeah. Because they did have their weird divorce papers or whatever. There you go. So
is that
that's your first prediction?
Self-explanatory, I think. And I
mean, Lee did return, just not with his wife or to run the Vic.
Oh yeah, okay. No, yeah, not yet. He did come back, didn't he? For
New Year's Eve or whatever it was. So,
all right. Well, here's your first prediction. The whole Panesar family will be gone by the end of 2020. Jags will be the first to leave.
Yes.
Points. Ash and Ikra will split up.
Oh, so close.
So close. After Ash cheats on her with a man.
That was close as well.
Very close.
I'm ahead of myself. I'm 2021.
And Vinny will be the last brother to leave the show.
Ooh.
You got
I was really predicting into the future there, I feel. I think I thought Vinny was like the... who's the DeMarco that stayed around for ages?
Pepe.
Yeah, he's like the Pepe. He just stays around for a bit longer.
That's not a compliment. He's the one that hung around.
I mean, Suki obviously changed that quite a lot.
I mean, this was before... Was this before Suki came?
Yeah.
So there you go. Suki changed
I got
it.
one with Jags, though, and I think I should get half a point for Ash and Ikra because they basically are non-existent.
Fair enough. All right, that's good. What's my second one?
You're continuing from the first one for some reason. Remember Lee and his wife had twins?
Yes.
Well, talking about Sophie's twins, Chantel is also pregnant and the due date matches Sophie's. They become good friends and Gray's behaviour towards Chantel starts to present themselves in front of Sophie and Lee. Gray then blackmails Lee to keep quiet. I think you've gone a bit too heavy on Lee here.
I genuinely thought that they were going to bring Lee back this year. I did. I really did think they were going.
He was in Gone Girl, I'm afraid, so he was busy. No points there. I mean, Chantel, that's completely wrong. So
fair enough.
I mean, she was pregnant, but that was the year before, wasn't it? When she lost the baby?
But then I thought that she would have
another one.
Not another one. She'd have another one. And I kind of, again, I said it earlier on the show, I hoped that...
And look at you as well, thinking Gray might blackmail Lee. Not just kill him, like he's done nowadays. He killed Tina, not Lee. So Carter's, you're on the right track.
I'm on it.
But not hard enough.
Maybe I'm predicting too far forward. Your second one starts with a recast Lauren Branning will come back to the show and get into a relationship with Peter. And also will be the one to stop Leo harassing Whitney. No.
Well, that would have been good.
If you say so yourself.
That'd be really good, that would have.
Lauren, Whitney and Chantel will be a new friendship group. No points.
That would have been good as well.
That would have been all
so upsetting.
All that was good. All that was nice and good.
Feel so deflated. Right, your third one.
Are you deflated because our stories are better than the ones that actually happen?
Yes. At least one of the Panesar brothers will have left the soap.
1 point.
My prediction will be Jags.
2 points.
And his exit will be starting a new life with Habiba, who will also be gone by the end of 2020.
3
Well,
points.
No, he was in jail, but they were going to leave together.
Yeah, but Habiba has left, so I'm taking 3 for that.
Yeah, that's very good.
Well done, me. Right, your third one. There will be new owners of the Queen Vic around autumn time.
Yeah, because when it came back from lockdown, it was autumn.
Yeah, I'll give you that. With the Carters staying on the show, but not really working as characters once they're out of the Vic. Oh, that didn't happen. They were a huge story. And Danny Dyer will announce he's leaving in 2021.
2021?
Again,
well,
you're thinking too far forward. Do you think Danny Dyer will leave? Do you reckon he's due a rest?
Well, we didn't know about coronavirus here.
That's true.
If it wasn't for coronavirus, I do actually believe that they would have both quit over the storyline.
Yeah, but they need to work now.
Yeah, so I don't know. It's not fair. Right, your fourth one.
Okay, it was 5.
Rainey and Stuart will get to breaking point from Rainey's behaviour that he finds unforgivable. This will trigger Stuart and will finally discover Dylan Box has been kept hostage in an abandoned building.
He must come back.
Or a basement. Maybe that's what Gray's done with Tina. Who knows?
Yeah.
And Rainey will be left in the basement too. I've just seen the TV show You on Netflix.
There we go.
We will not know anything for months other than scenes of Stuart's heart beating in his head. Oh, you predicted sound effects.
Oh, yes. I'll get half a point for that.
And crazy camera angles bringing back Crazy Stuart once more.
I'll get a full point for that.
No, if you swap that with Gray, it could have been a bit more.
So I'm glad that I was influenced by a TV show from my like Netflix. So I am a bit John Sen for that, if you think about it. Yeah, I must have at the beginning of the year not thought that Rainey and Stuart were gonna.
You wanted
survive.
them to be like a mad couple, didn't you?
I did. Well, they did. There was glimpses of that when Stuart said he beaten up D.I. Gaffney.
Yeah, killed him.
I got very excited.
It was all fake.
It was all fake. Right, number 4 for Ben's prediction. Max Bowden will quit the show in the summer of 2020. That's never happening. And leave, breaking up from Callum. Oh dear. Callum will become a policeman. 1 point.
Yeah.
And there will be a storyline about him not being accepted as a gay officer. But he meets... That would have been good. But he meets another gay officer and they begin dating once Ben has left. I mean...
I think Max Bowden will be the first to leave.
Do you? I
out
don't.
of the two, yeah. Tony Clay will just settle.
I think Tony Clay will leave first, but not on his...
Willingly, yeah.
Not willingly. And I think it will be... I think we've all said it.
Keep your predictions for next year, please.
I will. I'll write it down right now. Scribble, scribble. Right, my last prediction.
Right, your last
there's a bonus one as well, I see. So we'll
yeah.
get to that.
So I read that at the same time?
No, leave that to last.
Your bonus one, I will read it because it's the same. Your bonus one, I'm going to read the bonus one first.
Okay.
And then read your 5th one. Lauren Branning will be recast, so you copied me. Peter Beale will be a drug dealer when he returns, and not forgiving Bobby will attempt to kill Bobby with a drug overdose.
Oh, he didn't attempt to kill him, but he did try to frame him with Ian's...
Didn't he do something with drugs with Bobby? Because he was like on the dance floor. Remember, like fainting.
that was gas. That was the gas because he's trying to impress Dottie.
Well, you don't get any points for that. Then you can't string too much out of it. Right, your prediction. Yep. Your actual prediction. Max Branning will contract an STI, which will make him impotent.
Oh, good.
His relationship with Ruby will deteriorate.
Yep,
and he will lose his mojo.
Yeah, point.
Yeah, but he's lost his. That's not why they break up. That's fine. He'll try to sleep with old faithful Stacey again, but she will resist. Martin will get wind of this and reveal to the square his problem, making Max embarrassed, and he'll leave for another break from the show.
He's leaving from the show.
Wait, is it a break? No, okay. Half. You can make your half into a hole again.
There you go. Oh, lovely. Right, your last. Well, I must say though that would have been again an infinitely better story.
Well, yeah.
If I do say so myself.
We're going to post these over to L Street afterwards. Yeah, so they can read through
for the attention of Kate Oates. Ben's last prediction for 2020. The Mitchells will all be gone by the end of 2020.
I was in a bad mood when I wrote this.
Really were. With only Sharon and Dennis left. Oh dear. No. Sharon takes on the name of what's again? Point. She does.
Oh yeah. Also, like quite a lot of the Mitchells did leave. Like there's not that many left.
Half a point.
No, I don't need half a point. There's only Louise.
You sure?
Louise and Lisa and the baby.
Only Louise. And buys back the club from Ruby. That didn't happen. Ruby will also leave the show in an uneventful exit around falling out with Stacey. Well, she did fall out with Stacey, so I'll give you a point for that. I'm being kind with my points.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, Stacey left instead for baby.
Yes, another maternity.
But I feel my predictions were going to happen in 2021.
You were too far ahead. You were
was
too eager. I mean, we keep hold of your one, and we can always come back to that for our 2021 review.
God,
if there is one, which there will be. So, Ben, your predictions, you got 5.5 points.
That's generous.
My predictions, I got 7.5 points.
Ooh.
EP, here we come. Lovely. Well, we have to write out our new ones now. We have to get downstairs and start scribbling.
And I think we're going to get Rob to write his as well. So next year he will also do his prediction.
We are Rob. So if we haven't contacted Rob, you're hearing it first now. Well, there you go. So let us know if you made any predictions for 2020 and whether they came to fruition yourselves by commenting below or by getting in touch with us on Twitter.
Quite a slim chance that someone did, but you never know. I mean, someone might have.
I'm sure the Ben Mitchell Twitter account will say that he predicted everything correctly. Find us on Twitter at Walford Weekly. You can find us on that on Instagram as well. You can also find us on our Facebook group, Walford Weekly Podcast. Don't forget, if you're listening to this on YouTube, to subscribe, press the like button and comment.
Comment your grade below. Yeah.
Comment your grade below. Lovely. Well, have a lovely week.
Thanks. Have a lovely year.
Have a lovely year. And everyone, take care of one another, and we'll speak to you again soon. Bye.